What is up, everybody? Alicia and Jordan Prince here with episode 2 of The Ugly Podcast.
Hey, guys.
What's up, y'all?
I'm super excited about this one.
I am too. We got some questions coming for you guys.
Lots of questions.
Tons of questions. Good questions, too, that made me scratch my chin and scratch my head and think a little bit. So, looking forward to that. First, we wanted to get started by getting into the story of us.
Yeah.
So,
this episode is basically just going to be, before we jumped into any like random topics of relationships and questions and just different subjects, we really wanted to get you guys to know us on a deeper level, right?
For sure.
Like, you know us on social media. And
hopefully.
What we show you guys, a day in our life is basically what we show you guys. But to really get to know us like on a deep level, I think this will be fun because, a lot of people, majority of people don't know us on a deeper level.
For sure. So, do you want to get started leading the story?
Yes, Jordan. I'll get started. Okay, so like we talked about in the first episode, Jordan and I met when we were 16 and 18. So the goal for this episode is like, how did we get to where we are now, right? Like a fully functioning, healthy marriage that communicates, still has their trials and tribulations, but the most important part is just a functioning, healthy marriage because neither of us came from that. So
Negative. Neither of us.
Neither of us. So it really started with us. And it didn't happen like in a day. It didn't happen in a month. It didn't happen in a year. So we really had to work hard to get to where we are today and build a strong foundation for the future and everything that's going to be thrown our way as a couple too.
For sure. It was a lot of trial and error. For
sure. Yeah.
Learning and making a vow to each other to actually try and learn from our mistakes. Mm-hmm. Because it's a relationship with two people. You're going to make mistakes and personalities are going to clash sometimes and decisions are going to clash, and it's a learning process, and then you have to get in your groove of, okay, this is who handles this, and this is who handles this, and these
and
decisions take teams, and then, it is.
Growing up, this is like the biggest question I get because we've been together since we were 16 and 18 is like growing up together, And what I always say is if you're not growing together, then you're growing apart. Yeah, so we've always made it a priority to grow together. When our mindsets change, when our hobbies change, when our careers change, and our emotions change, everything like that, we've always been extremely honest with each other and just grown together, even if it really sucked in the beginning.
For sure. And I got to say something really quick.
Okay.
Because, this is only episode 2 of this podcast, but I feel like this podcast is super good for us, for me and you. Yeah. Because we work a lot, so like our conversations are usually work. Yeah. And I feel like this is super good for us it's like decompression time to just sit and talk about whatever we feel like sitting and talking about.
For sure. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's definitely like a form of therapy, and you guys are going to be hopefully getting that same feeling working through your relationships as well. So that's the goal from this podcast, and we can't wait. So let's talk about the beginning. So obviously, the beginning of our relationship, just like any other relationship, you go through that honeymoon phase, right? Mm-hmm. When I met Jordan, I was crazy about him.
Man, I couldn't beat her off me with a stick.
I was like, the moment I met Jordan, I was in love with him. And it's funny because I was, 16, so had never really felt that before. Never really just felt a love that strong and chemistry that strong. So right off the bat, I was just nuts about Jordan. Yeah, you couldn't get me off of him. I loved him. I was instantly just crazy about him, and he just had it for me. Yeah. So we definitely went through that honeymoon phase of just always being together, obsessed with each other, having fun together. Yeah, just inseparable. And then just as you build a relationship with someone and you realize this is someone I want to be with, and it's not just a little love kid romance. You got to start.
It's not puppy love.
No, it's not puppy love. You got to start making some real decisions.
For sure.
So.
And then once you start making the real decisions, that's where
it's just figuring it out comes through.
Yeah, exactly. Figuring it out. That's when things can really start to get heated because, well, my parents raised me to do it this way, but my parents raised me to do it this way. And then you guys got to figure out, well,
and opinions.
how are we going to do it?
So let's be honest, when we were that young, we still had to deal with our parents' opinions.
For sure.
And that was tough because you love your parents, you respect your parents, but having all those opinions in your relationship,
a lot of times, and no disrespect to our parents, because I'm sure they'll watch
one
these,
day.
But a lot of times you got to just tell people to like fuck off, like mind your business. Like it's not, it's me and Alicia's relationship, and that's just how. All decisions made in our relationship, we have to deal with the consequences and the reward for those decisions. So
it's a part of growing up.
For sure.
Yeah, it goes for friends too, because at that age, friends are very opinionated. They have
a heavy influence over you.
Heavy influence. So there comes a point in that relationship where you have to kind of tunnel vision in and say, okay, between you and I, what do we want? How are we going to do things? Yeah. So that was an extremely, I think, pivotal point in our relationship because at that point...
When would you say that happened?
When I would say it happened when we decided to get married. That's what I would say.
I would say it happened in Florida when we were away from everybody.
That too. Well, that's a huge, topic for sure to discuss. But I'm just going with the timeline, babe.
Okay, my bad.
I'm just going with the timeline. I would say the first time for me personally was when we got married because obviously no one thought we should get married. And of course, everyone had their opinions. Naturally, I'm not saying it's normal for a 17 and 19-year-old to get married, but it just, I don't know. Like, I just knew. So for me, at that point is when I really knew, like, sorry, Luna just...
That was our special guest.
She can never just let us be great, like, ever. But, so that was when I really knew, like, excuse me, am I going to make these decisions myself or am I going to let other people control my relationship?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's when I decided as an individual for myself, I'm going to make these decisions myself and I am going to have to deal with whatever comes from it. But that was something I was 100% ready to take on. And so I would say for me, that was like the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think mine would have to be when we moved to Florida and we finally got away from all the influences. And it was just me and you in our little apartment. And
starting off.
Yeah, we had to live with each other 24/7 and learn that, okay, Alicia likes to put her toothbrush there. She likes to leave her makeup all over the counter, things like that. Like, it's just things that we had to adjust to and learn about each other,
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. Florida was an extremely transformative time of our lives because we were now isolated, in a sense, just me and Jordan in another state figuring it out. And I would definitely agree that at that point, we really got to know each other and we really got to grow with each other and figure out, okay, what do we want out of this marriage?
Yeah.
And I definitely think Florida gave that to us for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a super important year.
So I would say,
2 years.
What would you say was our biggest issue in our relationship at first?
At first, or?
Yeah, just going with the timeline. Like, how did we get to where we are today? What was that big moment for us that it was just like, this is such a big problem in our relationship. How are we going to move forward? How do we work through that?
Well, I know for me, my issue was communication, and it's probably still that to this day because I'm not a super like communicative person. Like, I don't, when things are bothering me, I don't necessarily voice them and stuff like that. So that was probably my biggest downfall as a husband, not being vocal about what things that were bothering me.
I agree.
And it would just build up until, I mean, you can only hold things in for so long.
Till it became a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say for sure that is definitely like the biggest toe-to-toe thing we would come come to, trying to figure out with each other. Mine was definitely like my anger. I had to learn. If I wanted to have a successful marriage, I had to learn how to control my anger. I come from a family where we don't do that. So it's just like, it wasn't and just, childhood traumas. Like, you got to figure that out on your own. You got to figure it out on your own. You got to figure out how to handle it in order to move forward and continue to have a healthy relationship with your spouse. So I would say that was my biggest thing. It did not happen in a day.
Negative.
It didn't happen in a few months. I had to continuously call myself out. I had to continuously see how I could get better. I had to continuously try to figure out what my triggers were, right? Because that's where it starts. So figuring out my triggers were the number one thing. Yeah,
and then getting back to that thing of communication, talking to me about them so I could try to stop them from happening or stop me from pulling those triggers,
Yep, because let me tell you guys, you cannot do better with someone who wants to get that out of you.
For sure.
Because Jordan and I, we truthfully struggled with that. I would try to do better, and he would try to pull that out of me. Like, he would want that ugly in me to come out.
That's what she says, but I mean, there was just little things so for instance, if we're arguing, she doesn't like when I say okay. But sometimes I don't know what else to say other than okay.
No, he would say okay. He would say okay in a disrespect almost manner. Like, I would be trying to communicate, and he'd be like, okay. And it's just like, okay, I'm trying to communicate, and you're pushing me to a point where this is upsetting me. So that was for sure our biggest issue. And I'm a smotherer
when we fight, and you like distance.
Yeah,
so.
That's a huge thing. Jordan doesn't, if I'm upset because I have, struggled with my anger, I have to get space. I have to have space. I have to remove myself from the situation before the ugliest parts of me come out, because that's not what I want, and that's not who I really am. And so I need space. If I feel myself getting worked up, I will have to just remove myself. I may have to leave. I may have to go to another room, but I got to figure it out. And Jordan does not like that.
No, not at all. If we fighting, let's just do this thing. Let's just get this fight on. Let's just get it on and over with.
Yeah, no. And see, so we had to figure that out. We had to figure out, how can we complement each other even when we're fighting versus triggering each other. And it's one of the hardest things to do, because we're emotional creatures. We are emotional creatures. We're emotional human beings. We have emotions that we go through. So trying to figure out how to control those emotions, maneuver through them, and work through them for the better was definitely our hardest thing as a married couple.
Yeah, for sure. And just not letting emotions control you in a sense, too.
For sure. To try to think rationally.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you ladies, but when I'm angry, it's hard for me to truly think. It was hard for me to truly think rationally, because I was so angry that it would just get in the way of everything.
Yeah, and I'm kind of it takes a lot for me to get angry, I'd say. It doesn't, I don't get angry very often, but when I do, I'm pretty mad.
Jordan, yeah, for sure. I've only ever seen him truly angry once in our 7 years of marriage, but he shuts down.
Yeah, I do.
He shuts down if he's upset about something.
I'm not gonna talk.
He'll completely shut down, and
exactly.
He won't do anything to solve the problem, and that's where we would also butt heads. So I would say figuring those things out. Oh my gosh, they skyrocketed our marriage after that.
They were. It's day and night for sure.
Yeah,
they changed it. It did. It changed everything.
It changed everything for the better.
For the better, for sure.
It really made us grow up. And you have to not only do that as a couple, but you have to do it as individuals as well. We have always been the type of relationship where if we need our own time to grow and be our own individuals, aside from always having our own individual lives, we will do that. And we'll give each other that respect, and we'll give each other that space.
Yeah.
So those are huge things that definitely are super important.
for sure. So where are we at now in the storyline? We were in Florida.
So that's what we really learned in Florida.
Yeah, we were in Florida. So
And,
hurricane hits.
Well, I think too also, excuse me, I think as well, for me, this is a big one. I know this is a huge one for our marriage, but who you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
When you're married, and even as an individual, I preach this. I've always said this since the day I've met Jordan. Who you surround yourself with is everything.
Environment.
Everything.
Environment is crazy.
If you surround yourself with a bunch of people that don't support you, are negative or cause problems, you will struggle.
For sure.
You will struggle.
Environment is it's everything in life. Like,
yes.
I actually, speaking about environment, I heard this crazy story yesterday. I was listening to an audiobook on the way to work, and the author was saying that in Vietnam, over like 20% or something like that of U.S. troops were heroin addicts. Mm-hmm. But when they moved back home, they I believe it was over 90% of them cut it out cold turkey, and they were relaying it to the environment of being at war, people shooting at you. It's so easily accessible. They were saying that all those things were why those people were heroin addicts. It wasn't that they liked heroin or even being high. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just the environment of being in that environment that made it. Your
environment is everything.
Yeah, it is, and that's what was the point of that story. Yeah. It was like environment is everything.
It is. It's everything. I preach it. I've always known this since I was little, just from growing up and what I grew up around. I always just understood that my environment was everything.
I mean, what's the saying? You're a product of your environment, right?
Yeah, for sure. To a certain extent, everything is about decisions.
Of course.
So I would say once we stopped as a couple and as a unit surrounding ourselves with the negative and just the unhealthy. Sorry, I don't know why my voice always cracks, but just the unhealthy environment or habits. You know what I'm trying to say?
I do.
We consciously made a decision together to remove ourselves.
For sure.
From whoever or whatever was bringing negativity into our lives. We consciously made that decision in Florida. To do that, and it changed everything.
It did. So that transition back home was smoother than it would have been had we not made those decisions.
Mm-hmm. Once we got back to Omaha, it was almost just so clear, it was just such a clarity moment. That's what I'm trying to say.
For sure.
It was a clarifying moment. I don't know. It was clarity.
We get it. We get it.
So once we got back home, it was kind of just I don't know. Yeah, validation for, we are making the right decision by moving forward together.
Making the right decision for us. Mm-hmm, maybe not for other people.
And other people will be upset.
But you got to make the right decision for you too.
For sure. So doing that and surrounding ourselves with people that love us and support us and respect us and, help us through those hard times.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. Our marriage is just totally black and white. It's so different.
Completely. Learn how to communicate. Mm-hmm. I'm a talker now.
Jordan does better with the communication.
Yeah.
So those are definitely
We've made some strides in these 7 years.
Yeah. 7 years.
Almost a decade, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to think about how fast it goes by.
Yeah.
But I would say within these 7 years, those are huge pivotal moments in our relationships that, I really love the saying that Jordan has, the love is always stronger on the other side.
For sure.
I don't know if that comes from someone.
I don't know if it comes from somebody either. Maybe I heard it somewhere.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
I'm coining that. Mm-hmm. And if y'all use it, you better put my name at the bottom of it.
It's a good one. It's always so true because I think you have to remember, obviously we're talking about relationships that don't involve domestic violence or infidelity, anything like that. We've never had to deal with any of that. So we're talking about just a normal, quote unquote,
problems within
relationships. Yes. Once you get past that really hard, ugly part of the relationship, the love is just so much stronger on the other side because that is what strengthens your relationship.
Trials and tribulations.
Yeah. So I would think that was how we got to really where we are today and in the place we are today, which is not perfect still. Not perfect, but
still working.
Really healthy habits, better communication skills, like happy environments, positive environments, loving environments, and it's really made our relationship what it is today. So
Yes.
there will be hard decisions that need to be made, but don't be afraid to make them as a couple, because once you get married, you are one.
And stand on it. Make your decisions. You don't have to explain your decisions to nobody.
Yeah.
People gonna disagree with them. Mm-hmm. You don't have to explain yourself to nobody.
Yeah.
It's y'all.
Mm-hmm. And it will show within your marriage that, you two are one. You have respect for each other. You love each other, and you communicate with each other, and that will help you get through
100%.
those hard times. And it will eliminate a lot of fucking hard times.
Yeah, that's true.
It will eliminate a lot of problems. So that's definitely huge for us.
Yeah, other people butting in definitely causes issues that are unneeded and unwanted. Nobody wants to deal with somebody else's opinion. Just like I said in the first episode, nobody knows how to deal with Alicia when she's angry like I know how to deal with her. And nobody knows how to deal with me when I'm angry like she knows how to. And that's just a product of going through those trials and tribulations in a relationship. You're gonna fight.
I was watching this interview with Jay-Z a few weeks ago, and he made a good point. Yeah, he made a good point. They were trying to ask him, this was back in the day, like probably early 2000s, about him and Beyonce. And he had said, he was like, why would I talk about my relationship to hundreds of thousands of people? Why do I want your opinions inside of my relationship? That's just it's not feasible to make 100,000 opinions happy or, cater to those opinions. And he even referenced it back to, why would I do that within my hometown, within my friends and family that aren't super close to me? Like, why would I want all those different, opinions and issues into my relationship? That's just asking, for basically failure. So that's super important, is just know that you and your partner are making decisions together.
Yeah, we keep it here.
So I would think
it's
that's
simpler
really
that way. Nobody needs all the complications of other people.
Work through it together. So is there anything else you want to add of how we got to where we are today?
I don't believe so. I think that's all that I had to say.
I want to make sure we answer these questions.
Yeah,
because
so let's
I don't want to keep the podcast
get into
too
the
long,
questions.
But let's pull them up. So this is actually a really good one we just got. Hold on. So we got a lot of questions, so we're going to try to work through them all and answer them all without keeping things too long. So as the podcast evolves, we can dive into deeper subjects thoroughly and stuff like that.
Each of these questions may be a podcast. You never know.
So the biggest one I want to talk about that I got a question about is, how did we get through the long distance? How long have we spent apart?
So I've been in the military, 5 years? It'll be 6 in November. And over 2.5.
We've spent over 2.5 years apart.
Yeah.
Starting
5 years.
Starting when I was 17?
Starting when you were 17.
Starting when I was 17, you were 19. He went into the military 2015 of November.
Yep.
And we spent 2 months apart.
Basic training.
And then had a week together.
Yep.
And then spent 2 more months apart, and then had a weekend together. And then spent 3 more months apart?
3 months apart.
3 more months apart, and had like 2 weeks together.
2 weeks.
And then we were separated for 8 months.
Yeah, I had to go to Korea.
He had to go to South Korea. So then we were separated for 8 consecutive months. It was the longest we had ever been apart. And then again, he came home for Christmas for a few weeks, and we were separated again for 4 more months, from January to May.
Yep, January to May.
Yep. And then, of course, he's done his TDYs. He's gone through another deployment that was 9 months. So we've spent a lot of time apart.
A good amount.
How did we get through the distance? This is like a whole nother episode, but we're definitely going to touch on it. We're definitely going to touch on it.
My number one thing for any couple that has to go through distance is, I would say systems.
Systems, yep, for sure.
Because every time, the first time Korea, it was a rough one for us.
It was the first one, and it was rough.
Because we had no systems. I would call her, and she made me sleep, and
Work.
Yeah, anything could get in the way.
We were in 2 totally different time.
Yeah, I think I was like 15 hours ahead of you or something like that. And it was just super difficult. It was super weird, and we just never worked through a system, I don't think. Actually, towards the end, we did start to work through a system. I started to call you during lunch, which was like bedtime for you, and like...
Yep. Systems are everything when you are spending so much time apart. Now, we're not talking about a few weeks. Get that chump change out of here. We're talking about time apart. Systems are everything.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about this for me as well, because I also had another question that said, how this other question said, what did it say? Basically, how did you handle the times he was away, staying occupied? So I'm going to answer these 2 together.
Okay.
So spending time apart, be prepared to not talk as much as you want to talk.
For
sure.
So
it goes in with systems, but I mentally had prepared myself. I was already an extremely independent person prior to meeting Jordan. I would say independence is like probably one of my strongest. Is that a characteristic?
I'd say it is.
Yeah, so
for sure.
The thought of being alone has never scared me. So let's just get that out of the way, because I know a lot of women struggle with the thought of being alone. And we've seen it within the military community.
For sure.
So that is something that I think either men or women, but obviously I can only speak from a woman's perspective. I've never been afraid to be alone, and I've never been afraid to do anything on my own. So even though we were apart, but we were still together, I knew, okay, this is my opportunity to individually work on myself, individually figure out what I truly want to do in life, or what I enjoy doing, whom I enjoy being around. That's what I personally did. And I never, ever struggled with that. And I just want to be really honest, because I'm sure women have struggled with that. I know that some have. But I truthfully never struggled with that. And I want to say, because it's such a huge factor on how we got through the distance. It just is. And so that's the reality of it, is distance has never scared me, because I've always known I will just continue on with my individual life.
Yeah, and even for me being deployed, that helped a lot, because I would see husbands, as soon as they get home, they got call, they just every chance they got a chance to connect to Wi-Fi, they on the phone with their wife. And it was good,
because if they weren't, it was a problem, right?
And, yeah,
clarify on that.
And it was good for me that Alicia was how Alicia was, because I like to go to the gym. I'm eating. I'm doing other things. She allowed
Hanging
me
out
to
with her
have.
friends.
Yeah, she allowed me to have. That allowed me to have a separate life as well.
Yeah.
Because you can't time goes faster. You can't just sit here staring at the phone all day long. That's
you run out of shit to talk about.
Yeah, honestly.
If you're not getting out and doing your own thing
together. Yeah,
you run out of shit to talk about. What are we gonna do? Sit here and stare at each other for 8 months on the phone?
Yeah, that's 5-6 hours a day. Nobody can. No.
And I will say, I remember finding out when he was going to Korea. Of course, initially I was super sad, because we had other plans and the plans changed, right? So I had probably taken a night of being sad. You naturally go through those emotions of having to be apart.
No, you were like, oh, that's fine. We can do that. We can do that. I'll be there with you. And I was like, no.
I had thought that I could go with him.
Not this one.
And I was a ride or die. I was like, oh, we're going to Korea?
Yeah,
well, I guess we're going to Korea.
You're not coming.
So I couldn't go. But I've always been an extremely, extremely big advocate. I've never struggled with this in our relationship, but if he's away, take that time to yourself.
Yeah, work on yourself.
Work on yourself. Enjoy life. How many young men get to say they've been in how many different places of the world, right?
For sure.
So I've always been really big on, and you have to allow your partner to do that. You do. So I'm speaking to everyone that has that question of how did we get through the distance? You have to allow your partner to live their own life with those experiences in life.
For sure.
He's going to South Korea. When does he ever get to do that again? And so I wanted him to have that moment to himself and grow and be a man and do his job. obviously, most importantly. And then...
Yeah, because I was fresh.
Yeah.
Like,
and who wants it to be a miserable time? Like, yes, it sucks, but you have to find the positives in everything.
And complaining about it ain't going to make it no better.
No, it's not. It's just going to cause stress on your relationship.
Because, like, it's happening.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gone.
Either you're going to make it work and you're going to find the positive in things and, you know, figure out how to maneuver through that, or you're just going to fail because you're so...
Period.
You're so stuck on the fact that you're apart, and
consumed with the fact that you're apart.
It's just too much. So I will say, how did we get through the distance? Number one thing was definitely systems. Finding out when are the best times to talk, and be okay if sometimes it doesn't work out that day.
Because sometimes it doesn't.
But obviously the goal is to consistently have a routine.
Like sometimes I'll be calling to sleep. Our first time talking in 24 hours would be me calling to say goodnight.
Yep.
And then going to sleep.
Yeah, it's not always a long conversation.
No, not at all. I'll be like, all right, babe, I got to go to sleep.
You just have to understand what you're committing to when you're working on being apart and working through that distance.
For sure.
So number one thing is definitely systems. Create a system. If you can only talk once a day, you can only talk once a day. But I mean, if you want to, how was our time frame?
So our time frame was, I would call you at... I woke up at 3:50 the whole time I was deployed this last time. Woke up at 3:50, read for hours. So I would, in those 10 minutes, I would be brushing my teeth, getting ready for work, and then I would call you at 5 a.m. And I believe that was like 6 o'clock here.
Yeah,
afternoon?
It was like right in the evening. Yeah. It basically was just the different morning and evenings.
Yeah,
I was on evenings when he was in mornings, and he was in evenings when I was in mornings. So once we got that system down, it made it so much easier, because then it's like, okay, I know I have all this time in my day to focus on. For me, it was college, work, the gym, my girlfriends, whatever I wanted to do. And then I knew that, I was going to be hearing from him, instead of sitting there all day like, when is he going to call? Why hasn't he called? What is he doing?
He usually calls by this time.
Like, I never did that. Like, it wasn't my thing. And so I just want to put this out there as well, working through distance. If your partner's going to cheat, they're going to cheat.
No reason to worry about it.
No reason to worry about it. To me.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
For me, I've never, ever, ever stressed or worried about Jordan cheating on me or vice versa.
No.
It's just been a clear line and boundary in our relationship from day one. Like, if you cheat, it's just over.
Yeah.
Like, it just
There's
is.
no conversation.
There's no conversation. It's just, for us, that was a deal breaker for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, working through distance, it was the same thing. If you're going to cheat at home, you're going to cheat at home. If you're going to cheat when you're gone, you're going to cheat when you're gone. And so for me, it was just like, this is my boundary. If it happens, it's a lesson learned for me or for that person, whoever. If not, if you are deciding and constantly making decisions on how you want your relationship to be.
For sure.
So,
and I would see a lot of people like that are super consumed with, well, my wife might be doing this. Like, I'm like, just relax, dude. Because no amount of worrying in the world is going to stop her from doing whatever the hell she want to do. You 1,000+ miles away. Like, dude, you can't do anything about it. Relax.
And it's sad. And I remember someone close to us had been telling people that we for sure had been cheating on each other. Was it
there's no way that they
a girlfriend had ended up telling me that someone was saying there's no way that they don't cheat on each other.
Yeah.
Like, they're apart for this long, they definitely cheat on each other. Let's just put it out there. We've never cheated on each other.
There is a way.
There's no way we have ever cheated on each other.
Yeah.
That's just a strong boundary in our relationship. We know we just both wouldn't tolerate it.
Nope.
So we've never cheated.
And the reason why people say that is because that instant gratification thing, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
People don't cheat. Like for me, I see no point in cheating, because like, what am I going to cheat for? The sex? Like, no. I literally can't comprehend it. I can't comprehend it. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I can get that. And then, but if I get that from somebody else, I also lose what I got. So it's not the measurements don't weigh out to me. I'm a mathematical person in a lot of ways. That math don't make sense to me. Like it just, I can't comprehend it personally.
Yeah, and you have to understand too. People will, and we've never addressed this to that we don't even care.
Yeah,
this is just something that we know people have said, and we just don't care because people will portray what's going on in their lives onto you.
Period.
Well, there's no way I could do 8 months without cheating on my partner, so they are definitely cheating on each other, right? No. Wrong. That's your own problem and insecurity.
Yep.
So let's just put that out there. But getting through the distance, there's got to be a certain level of confidence in your partner. If you don't have that confidence and that trust, then you guys have bigger problems than the distance. I'll just put that out there. So
100%.
That's just the truth of the matter for us when working through that distance. So obviously we have systems. We have basically the trust part, communication. How else did we work through it? I would say those are the hugest. Those are the biggest things. Oh, your individual life.
The individual life.
Have your own individual life, and if don't be controlling. We've seen that.
Relax.
We have seen that within people in the military being separated. Like Jordan will tell me about wives that wouldn't let the spouse go to a fight night?
Yeah, fights or
fight night with the boys.
We're watching a fight on the TV or something.
She wouldn't allow it because she didn't want him out.
Yeah,
she wanted him in the dorm for 8 months, sitting there, not doing shit. No, I disagree with that. I don't agree with that. I've never been that wife. If there's a fight night, go out and enjoy a fight night with your buddies that you're going to build bonds with. You are building bonds with those people. So have your own individual life. If I'm going out with my girlfriends, I'm going out with my girlfriends. That's my individual life. So we've always allowed each other to have those
for sure
individual lives, or supported it, I should say. Because if you don't, personally, I think it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
I don't do control. Controlling in relationships just doesn't work.
It's just not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun for anybody.
So that's a little bit. We can always go in more depth. We could talk about that forever.
Yeah, we kind of talked
about that. But I want to try to work
time.
through these questions because there's a lot. So someone said, what helps you communicate with your spouse when you're frustrated and in a bad mood overall? For me, I can't. If I'm in a bad mood or I'm really frustrated, I have to take a minute. And what's helped me with Jordan is saying, if those words, you're triggering me. If he knows he's triggering me, he's got to leave me alone because I just need space. I can't, like I said, I just struggle with that. So once I've cooled down and taken my time to thoroughly think it through, Alicia, how do you really want to handle this? The best, obviously, to my ability. And sometimes it always doesn't work out that way. We've definitely had our fights. But just definitely try to acknowledge how you best personally work through problems.
Yeah.
So me personally best, if I'm getting frustrated or if I'm getting heated, I just have to take a minute, whether it's 30 minutes or a day, and I got to cool off.
I'm trying to think about how I do.
How do you deal with it when you're frustrated and mad?
Frustrated or mad? I think my go-to is... I don't know. I'm not the best communicator. So I'd say my go-to might be the shutdown.
The shutdown, yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. And not the shutdown as in get stiff and just lay in bed or something like that. I'm just not going to talk about it. I
will say when we're going through hard times, Jordan truthfully is really good about being calm and saying I'm sorry for whatever, let's work through it. And to me, that soothes me. Not even that I'm sorry, but just knowing that he wants to work through it soothes me. So that also helps as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would say just, figuring out how you individually communicate best when you're frustrated or mad, because not everyone's the same, and then figuring out how your partner does.
Yep.
And finding a balance between that for
sure.
So this one says, what is the one thing your spouse does that drives you crazy, but you don't speak on it?
You start, because I'm trying to think of something.
This question is hard because are we talking about more of like a depth thing, like something that we've struggled with, or like a little surface level thing? So I could do both. My surface level thing, probably that he just does laundry once a week. Like it just really drives me nuts. Like I need laundry done.
That's a crazy complaint. If y'all think that's a crazy complaint, just comment crazy complaint, because I do all of our laundry.
He does, but also he doesn't like when I try to help. Like,
No,
he's very controlling in that matter. Like, if I was to try to do laundry another day in the week, he would get all flustered. Like, he doesn't like it.
It's because I don't agree with some of her laundry techniques. So I'm like, yo, just let me do this. I got this.
But I want it done quicker. So that's just like a small, like, tedious thing. What's yours?
Mine would be the makeup on the counter.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll go a couple of days and Alicia leaves the makeup on the counter and I just be like, yo, please.
Ladies, it is just sometimes easier to just leave it on the counter when you know you're going to use it again. Like, let him know. So
to take it off the counter.
Yeah, that's one thing that drives him crazy, one thing that drives me crazy. And we just don't really speak on it because sometimes little things can turn into like bigger bickerments. Yeah. So we just leave it alone. You know, pick and choose your battles.
For sure.
Pick and choose your battles.
Start arguing over the makeup, and then she'd be like, "Well, you made me stub my toe last night, and I didn't."
And then it just like snowballs into something bigger, and you don't even like find a solution.
Pointless. Yeah. Pointless.
So that's something that
I learned to deal with it. Yeah. Actually, I have another one.
What?
Mine would be the toilet paper on the toilet roll.
Yeah.
Dude, I just learned to live with it. I don't even care no more. Even though it bothers me, I don't even care no more.
There's just something about the laziness of like, oh, I don't need to do this right now. I don't even think about it. You want to know what goes through
your head? Jordan will do this.
Yeah, that's probably true. Jordan will do it. So those are a few things. And again, we can go into deeper subjects on another episode. I just want to get the ball rolling. How do you approach difficult conversations? So we kind of answered this one, but I still wanted to address it. It's the same thing. So for me, if something is bothering me, it's a little bit different because how do we approach that,
That's true.
right?
That's true.
So for me, it's a little bit, I am a communicator if something's bothering me. I don't hold anything in.
I have been a lot lately, too.
Yeah. I don't hold nothing in. Like, if something is bothering me, like, I have to say it. And I'm like that with my friends and my family, too. Like, I don't hold stuff in. I have to say it because I don't want to sit there, like, letting things build up. And it's like...
And possibly not know, like, the root of it. Like, you may have perceived it a different way than it was meant or something like that. Like, it's just...
So how do we approach it? Difficult. Of course... We're truly honest with each other.
Yeah,
like that's just not an exaggeration.
I gotta talk to you.
Yeah, it truly is. And again, it goes back to that. If it's turning into an unproductive conversation, take a minute. Yeah. You know, don't try to figure it out right then and there. Take a minute, take your time, and then work
this conversation isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's reconvene at a later time.
Yeah, don't be afraid to reconvene. Jordan struggles with that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I really have to.
I don't struggle with it. I struggle with putting a meaning behind some arguments. I think that's what I struggle with.
No, I'm saying if I need space, you struggle with giving me space.
Yeah, but we're talking about going back to I struggle with going back to simple conversations because I'm like, yo, a lot of this doesn't matter on the big scale of things.
Yeah.
That's why I don't bring up the makeup thing because on the big scale of things, is it going to make me break up with you? No.
Yeah, so
our guest came back.
Luna Prince, she's just the star of the show. This one's a good one. So what is your favorite memory? What is Jordan's favorite memory? I'm going to make you go first on this one.
My favorite memory. My favorite recent memory.
Favorite memory.
I'm going to do my favorite recent memory though. My favorite recent memory would have to be when I came back from this deployment just because it was supposed to be 7 months. And then it ended up, then another month went by and another month went by. And we didn't know at all when I was coming home. And then when I got home, Marissa was videotaping. Y'all made that video. And I swear I'm not a sensitive dude, but I've watched that video probably 17 times. And like sometimes I tear up. Like definitely when I first got home.
Yeah.
It was super sensitive. I was like, damn, like I've been gone a long time.
Yeah. You build a life with someone. There's almost that fear of, will you get to come home? You know? You struggle with that fear.
Yeah, for sure. It was like what's going on? Like we knew nothing. I just knew a stop movement had came down, and we had no idea when I was coming home.
And we were dealing with the virus, so we didn't know what was going to come of the virus.
Yeah, it was just weird times.
But
my favorite time that's one of my favorite memories, coming back to you and seeing you in that airport.
Oh, babe, it's so sweet. I didn't know that. Thanks for that question. Her name is actually Jordan too, so thanks for that question, Jordy.
J Money.
But okay, what is my favorite memory? My favorite memory is Seattle. So yeah,
I love Seattle too.
we talk about Seattle. Like it was just such an intimate vacation in the sense of we brought our dog. We just traveled to Seattle after those 9 months of being apart, and we just did nothing.
Nothing. I think those are the best vacations.
Yeah.
After that vacation.
We ate a bunch. We went on hikes. We didn't plan anything.
We went there with zero plans. No sights to see, nothing. We woke up that day and was like, all right, what do you want to do today?
Yep. And we just enjoyed time together.
Yeah,
we talked, we laughed, we slept, we watched movies, we took our dog places.
Yeah. When we needed some food, when we woke up in the morning, just hit Google, like,
yeah, if you
breakfast places nearby.
To me, the biggest thing is I can sit and talk to Jordan forever. Like,
for sure.
Like, we can just sit and just talk about stuff, whether it's life, business, our dog. We can go on and on about our dog. Like, we'll both sit there and talk about each other or talk about our dog to each other. Like, we're annoying. So that's my favorite memory. This one's a good one. It says, did you guys ever almost give up on each other or break up?
So did we?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. I don't think sure. It would be honest and raw if after 7 years we were to sit here and be like, oh, no, we never thought about
we never thought about breaking up at all.
Yeah. There has definitely been a moment for me personally where I felt like giving up. Mm-hmm. I definitely felt like giving up, and I felt like maybe we just couldn't make it work.
Yeah, because sometimes fights get so bad, and it wasn't even, like, it was prolonged. Like, so it was after a while, like, we were continuous, like, the same problem kept arising,
getting worse,
and we're just like, yo, like,
so there was a point for sure. When was that? 2018 2018 was the year, and I think it was either we were going to break up or severe changes had to be made,
for sure, that
may not have been the most comfortable changes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have definitely gone through that one huge time, and it was hard. It was heartbreaking because at the end of the day, like, I know we are soulmates. Like,
for sure,
my soul doesn't connect like this with anyone else. And so it wasn't even that we didn't want to be together. It was just that we thought this problem couldn't be resolved.
Couldn't be solved, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was really hard. We did go through that. And, we can talk about that for sure, more in depth one podcast episode. And so this one says, how do you not hold grudges when upset with each other? So I am Miss Grudge Holder.
Queen Grudge Holder.
Queen Grudge Holder. Pre-Queen Grudge Holder. Is that the... No. Post. I don't know. You guys know what I'm trying to say.
You're not currently.
I'm not currently, but I was. Like, I don't know what it was about my temperament when I was younger, but I would hold a grudge forever. I could easily not talk to someone forever.
Yeah. Somebody pushed her down in 3rd grade and she didn't talk to them until they graduated high school.
Or never again. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Obviously, it's something that I've worked on. Mm-hmm. But Jordan doesn't hold a fucking grudge, like,
no,
to anyone, and I admire that about him.
Peace and love, y'all. No, I'm kidding. But
it has made me a better person.
Yeah, for sure.
It has made me a better person.
Yeah, I don't hold a lot of grudges because I just don't. I don't know. I feel like me releasing grudges is like grudges. I feel are heavy on the heart,
Mm-hmm.
And like that thing already made of ice for me, so I don't need like any more stress on that.
It's
grudges are too heavy on the heart.
Do we hold grudges with each other though? Was what the question was.
No.
Sometimes I will.
Sometimes.
I'm not gonna be a fake.
True. Sometimes you do.
I'm not gonna be a fake. I'm being authentic here. Yes, I can hold a grudge. Have I gotten better with it? 110%.
Yeah.
If you're a grudge holder, I recommend working through it because it's not worth it. And I realized that as an adult, it's not worth it. Depending on what it is, but with each other, if you know you're going to be together, you're going to be together. So it's time to let it go. And that's definitely something that Jordan will make me laugh about, because if I am frustrated with him, or if I'm maybe holding a grudge towards him about something I'm a little upset about, he's really humorous. Like, he's just very humorous. He knows how to make me laugh. He knows how to deal with me when I'm angry.
For sure.
And so his biggest thing is, are we going to break up over this? No. Let's drop it. And it's worked. It has worked with me.
Because if you're not going to break up, if it's not that big of a problem.
Yeah.
All right.
And it has 110% worked with me as far as having me let go of the grudges that I'm holding.
For sure.
So I do struggle with holding grudges.
Because I know I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I F up sometimes too.
Yeah. Players F up too.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Players fuck up too.
So that, yes, I have. I'll answer that honestly. But to be truthful, Jordan is a zero grudge holder. And I don't know how he does it. I admire him for it. I try to be more like him in that sense. But naturally, I just struggle with it. Okay, make sure I didn't miss anything. So, this one's a really good one. So this one says, how do you guys deal with living with your dad? Any tensions or weirdness with sex life, like stuff like that?
Who asked that?
Dad, please turn off the podcast after this. Turn it off, Dad. Go away. So, to be truthful, we've haven't really struggled with this.
No.
The truth is, my dad is super perfect in the sense of he does not get in our business. Like,
no, not at all.
He does not overwhelm us. He has his own life, and maybe that's like more of a dad thing than a mom thing. But it's just my dad. He does really well with that.
Yeah.
We've never had that problem, and we love that about my dad because he just lets us figure things out. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of always been like that.
Yeah, he's super hands off.
Yeah, super hands off. Unless we obviously were to come to him or something about an issue. But truthfully, we honestly never have. So as far as living with him, any tensions or weirdness, naturally you're going to have those little things, annoyance things that I'm sure everyone has. Yeah. But it has nothing to do with our marriage. At least I don't think it does. Maybe my dad should join on and let us know if something annoys him. But we don't have huge fights or anything like that have ever have invaded the household.
No.
Like I said, like our fights are truly pretty calm. Like they can have some tension to them, but they're not like huge blowout fights or anything like that.
No.
So
you'll never see like us like screaming at the top of our lungs or something like that.
Yeah.
It's usually like, I mean, some raised voices a little bit, but
kind of like bickerments too. It's I don't know.
It's mostly bickerments.
Yeah. So living with my dad, the reason we are with my dad as long as we have been is because it's gone so well. And the truth is, this house is, we have our own space. So with my dad, he
our space now is bigger than our apartment.
Yeah. Yeah. So my dad lives his own life. As far as our sex life, you got to be sneaky with it. Like I'm super, super self-conscious about my dad hearing or knowing anything. Like that is a big no-no for me. Jordan has no fucking shame sometimes. Like and not in the sense of he's obnoxious about it, but like if he knows someone is in the house, like he doesn't care. Whereas like I'm like, no, someone is in the house. So that's definitely come into our relation. You got to just maneuver it a little bit differently. We definitely don't have, sneak into some parking garages every now and then, keep it exciting. Keep it exciting. But like I said, we have our own space. And truthfully, my dad is gone a lot.
Yeah, he is.
He works so much. He has his own hobbies. He does his jujitsu. He has his own, girlfriend at this time, and so he goes to her place. So we have our own lives, and we definitely get our own space. So it works out. But I can understand how that 100% would be a question. Okay, so this is the last one, which we should probably answer because I think we're pushing time for sure.
We're pushing time.
This one is really cool. It says, what are you most excited about when you think about your future together?
What's the song? Level up, level up, level up, level up. I'm excited for the growth and see where we go because, like, obviously we have plans and goals for our future, but you never really know. Like, sometimes you may fall short or sometimes you may surpass some, like, levels that you never knew that were possible. And I'm excited to see where we go. Like, I don't know how to answer that question per se because Like I'm private with my goals, like in a sense, but our growth is gonna be crazy.
That's what you're most excited about?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Just what we'll grow into?
Yeah.
I think it's a good one. I think it's a good one because we just push each other to be the best we can be.
That's one thing I admire about our relationship, and I'm in the relationship. When I, like, for instance, with 75 hard, it would be super hard for me not to cut corners if I wasn't with you. Mm-hmm. Because, like, I could see myself taking a 40-minute workout instead of a 45-minute workout, but you'd be like, yo, we got 5 minutes left. Mm-hmm. And that shit is super necessary. Mm-hmm. Super necessary.
I always
Jorge
have to.
Masvidal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do admire that about our relationship. We're just pretty brutal with each other. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people can take that the wrong way. So, just know that that's how our relationship works. We're friends first. So just like you're kind of hard on your friends and whatnot, sure. I'm hard on Jordan and he's hard on me. So the growth will be good.
Yeah. So what's
and
yours?
We're not hard on, I want to clarify, we're not hard in the sense of if you don't do this, like you're a loser, like anything like that. There's no disrespect, but it's just like, yeah, if we are required to do a 45-minute workout and Jordan is 40 minutes in, it's just like, okay, we're good. I'm like, no, we still have 5 minutes left. So that's what that's what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. What I'm most excited about is babies.
I knew you were going to say that. I could see it in your eyes. I knew you were going to say babies.
I'm most excited about babies. I know
I am too.
It'll come for the right time, and I'm not ever rushing it. We're not rushing it. We're definitely taking our time. But, you see the future and you definitely think of creating your own family and building a unit together and having your little ones run around. And
I am looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a lot of kids, and I still do.
It's funny because I never wanted kids.
Yeah, she never wanted kids, actually. Yeah. And I just rubbed off on her. Mm-hmm.
I never wanted kids, and years later, I decided for sure. Yeah. I don't know, you just build that bond with someone. There's definitely a desire, I think, for sure.
We'll have to get started soon, though, because I want 4 of them.
Yeah, he's nuts. I'm good with 2, but he wants like 4, 5, 6. He always says.
Yeah, to feel it escalate.
Yeah, it'll be a minute though. It'll be a few more years for sure because
at least
we have some plans and we enjoy our freedom. I'm not gonna front about that.
Yeah,
we enjoy our freedom. We enjoy spending money on what we want to spend money on, and we enjoy our little Lou. She definitely distracts us. So, but I'm definitely most excited in the future for that new chapter of our lives because it's just like a whole new chapter.
It is.
I think about Jordan as a dad and I get excited.
She can't help but cry.
I know he's going to be a good dad.
Because I'm going to be such a good dad. I am. I'm super excited for fatherhood. I've already actually started writing lessons that I want to teach my sons and stuff like that.
But we're going to have daughters, so we'll talk about that on another episode.
We'll see.
So
50-50 chance, right?
Yeah, there is a 50-50 chance, but that is what I'm most excited for. I'm obviously 110% most excited for our business ventures. I know not only are we great friends and are we great partners, we're good business partners. And it's kind of crazy how we've evolved into that. Mm-hmm. And I know that that's going to be something that we talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's how we decided to be business partners, run our businesses together, and still have a fully, functioning, healthy relationship with each other while working together. So I can't wait to talk about that as well.
So I believe, do you need anything else to say?
No, I know we've kept everyone on here for a long time. I just wanted to answer all the questions that we got. I hope we answered all your guys' questions thoroughly. And then if we want to dive into deeper subjects, best believe we will be talking about
just let
those
us
subjects. Know. So this is the end of episode 2.
Thank you guys for watching.
Mm-hmm. Share with a friend. Let us know what you guys thought on our social media. Comment. And that's just the best thing is if you get any value or entertainment or anything out of this podcast, we definitely ask that you just share it with one friend. And, hopefully the community will continue to grow from there because the thing that I want with this is just diversity. I want different couples. Sure. I want different opinions.
From all walks of life.
From all walks of life. All ages. Everything. So let us know how you guys like this episode and we will talk to you guys on the next one.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Prince.